In psychology, there is a concept many people will recognize in themselves: the emotional mask. It looks like a smile, like the light "I'm fine," like a joke instead of an answer to a serious question. Such people know how to hold themselves together, how to look calm even when a storm is raging inside. On the outside, they appear strong, balanced, even happy. But this mask comes at a cost. The mask does not appear by accident. It is formed gradually, from small lessons of childhood and early experiences. A child who hears "don't cry" learns that their tears are unnecessary. A child told "be like everyone else" absorbs that their special feelings are inconvenient for others. A teenager who hears "endure, it's nothing" understands that their pain is not something to talk about. And when such a child grows up, they already know how to skillfully hide pain. Instead of telling the truth, they smile. Instead of showing fatigue, they joke. Instead of asking for help, they respond, "I'm fine." At first glance, this strategy seems advantageous. Indeed, the mask makes life easier. It avoids uncomfortable conversations, helps maintain face in front of colleagues, preserves the image of a strong person others can rely on. The mask seems to protect from unnecessary questions, from pity, from sympathy that often feels more dangerous than silence. The person thinks, "I can handle it myself," and the world accepts that answer with relief. But inside, another life is happening that no one sees. Behind the smile may be loneliness that cannot be shared. There may be pain that no longer seeks an outlet because it's so often met indifference. There may be fear that if one day the truth is spoken, the world will turn away. And this is why the mask becomes not only protection but also a trap. It saves in the moment, but over time deprives the chance for genuine contact. The person with the mask lives in two worlds. In the external one, they smile, work, support others, may even seem like the life of the party. In the internal one, they often feel exhaustion, as if their battery drains faster than it can recharge. This exhaustion is not from tasks or work, but from the constant process of hiding. Imagine having to play a role in a theater every single day, even when the stage is empty. The smile becomes a prop, the voice a script, and the true feelings are sent backstage. And the most frightening part: gradually, the person forgets who they are without this role. The "I'm fine" mask can last for years. It becomes so natural that even the closest friends may not suspect that something else is happening inside. Such people can laugh loudly so that no one hears how painful their silence is. They may be the first to help and the last to ask for support. And that is why their pain is invisible. The world believes the picture they show, but the body remembers the truth. It speaks through anxiety, insomnia, muscle tension, headaches. It signals that the mask is heavy and cannot be worn forever. And yet most people try to hold it even tighter, smile even wider, say even more confidently, "I'm fine." Because admitting it is not fine feels like removing armor and standing defenseless before the world. The mask truly protects, but only outwardly. Inside, it creates a deep distance between who the person really is and who they appear to be. And over time, that distance becomes a chasm. The consequences of wearing the emotional mask are not always visible right away. On the surface, everything seems orderly. The person goes to work, fulfills responsibilities, may even be successful. They laugh with friends, support others, and often are seen as the strong one others can lean on. But behind this image, something else builds up: silence no one hears, fatigue no one sees. The mask does not only hide pain from others, it begins to hide it from the person themselves. After years of saying, "I'm fine," one begins to believe it. The psyche, in order to survive, dulls the signals of the body, muffles emotions, pushes them into the subconscious. But hidden emotions do not disappear. They become tension. That is how anxiety arises without any clear reason. That is how insomnia comes, as if the body is saying, "You were silent all day, now I must scream at night." That is how psychosomatic symptoms form. The heart races faster than it should. The stomach aches for no clear reason. The back feels heavy as if carrying a stone. But there is an even subtler consequence: loss of authenticity. A person who wears a mask too long starts to lose touch with themselves. They no longer always know what they actually feel. Are they really happy? Are they truly tired? Is their smile real? When the gap between the inner world and outer image grows too wide, even the simple question, "What do I want?" can cause confusion. Desires and needs have been ignored for so long that they were replaced with others' expectations. The mask affects relationships as well. At first, it seems useful. No one sees your weaknesses, everyone thinks you are strong. But the problem is that real closeness cannot exist without openness. If a partner only sees a smile, they never know the loneliness beneath. If friends only hear "I'm fine," they never realize you sometimes need support. Gradually, relationships become shallow. The person is there, but not fully. They exist in others' lives, but no one touches their real heart. The greatest risk is that sooner or later, the emotions that were hidden will come out. It may happen as a nervous breakdown, when years of pain erupt suddenly and uncontrollably. It may be depression, looking like exhaustion and indifference to everything. It may be a feeling of inner emptiness when nothing brings joy, not even what once did. The mask, which held so long, eventually falls on its own, because the psyche cannot carry the burden of untruth forever. Another danger: the mask becomes part of identity. The person identifies with the image of the smiling one or the strong one, and then taking off the mask feels impossible. It feels like destroying oneself, admitting that for years you showed only part of the truth. This is terrifying because openness feels like risk. What if they reject me? What if no one wants to see my vulnerability? And so another day is spent in silence, another day in the role, another night alone with the truth. In psychology, there is a metaphor. The emotional mask is like armor. It does protect from blows, from criticism, from judgment. But armor also prevents real embrace. It blocks warmth and closeness. The longer the person wears it, the harder it is to remove, because over time it feels like there is nothing left underneath. The "I'm fine" mask can save in the short term. It helps in moments when there truly is no strength to speak. But if it becomes permanent, it turns into a prison where the person is both prisoner and guard. The inner struggle of those who live with the emotional mask is like a constant battle between two voices. One voice whispers, "Tell the truth, allow yourself to be yourself, share what hurts and you will feel lighter." Another voice, louder and harsher, replies, "Stay quiet, if you open up you'll lose. People won't understand, they'll turn away, they'll think you're weak." Between these two voices, a person lives every day, often without realizing how much energy is spent on this invisible war. The desire to be heard and the fear of rejection, these are two opposing forces that keep the person tense. On the one hand, there is the deep need for honesty, to show the real self, to feel relief from being accepted as you are. This is a natural human need. We are social beings, we cannot exist without connection. But on the other hand, there is memory of pain, memory of moments when honesty was mocked, when vulnerability was used against you, when pain was dismissed with, "Stop it, it's nothing." And that memory makes the mask necessary again and again. Even when the person dares to open up, it is cautious, measured. They may say to someone close, "Sometimes it's hard," but not admit how much they suffer. They may joke about being tired so no one knows it's exhaustion. This is like testing the world. Can I trust here? Is it safe? If the world responds warmly, the mask may crack. If the response is cold, the mask only tightens further. The paradox is that those who hide the most often feel the most deeply. They are sensitive and empathetic, able to listen, to see pain in others' eyes, to notice the slightest shifts in tone. They may be the perfect friend, the trusted advisor, but rarely let anyone touch their own truth. This creates imbalance. They give warmth to others but remain cold inside. The inner struggle also lies in confusing the real self with the role. If you smile for years even when it hurts, at some point you can no longer tell. What do I feel now? The mask becomes a second skin, impossible to peel off. Then arises the sense of losing oneself, like living a life that isn't yours. Outwardly, you exist, you function, but inwardly, there is silence and uncertainty about your own reality. Sometimes this struggle shows in small things. A person wants to text a friend, "I feel bad," but deletes it and instead writes, "How are you?" They want to call and say, "I'm exhausted," but instead smile on video chat and say, "I'm holding up." These small choices look trivial, but inside them lies the greatest pain, the wish to be seen and the fear of showing yourself. This duality is exhausting. When the mask is held all day, in the evening the emotions return twice as strong. Nights become battlefields. The smile no longer protects. The lights are off and the voices grow louder. One says, "Trust, open up." The other warns, "It's dangerous." And so it continues day after day, year after year, until the mask becomes so strong that even the person doubts if they can ever remove it. Sooner or later, even the strongest mask cracks. It does not always happen dramatically. Sometimes it's a small, almost invisible moment when the person cannot say their usual "I'm fine." Instead of smiling, they shrug. Instead of joking, tears appear. And that moment, however brief, is a breakthrough that destroys years of armor. When the mask falls, the world sees the real face, not the role. For some, it shows as a nervous breakdown, crying, shouting, anger bursting out. For others, it is silence, no words, withdrawal, isolation. For others still, it appears through the body, panic attacks, insomnia, feeling like the body can no longer carry the weight the mind forced it to hide. This moment feels dangerous. Vulnerability, hidden so long, suddenly becomes visible. The person feels shame, fear, confusion. What will they think of me now? Will they still accept me? Will they leave? But in this vulnerability lies the chance for true closeness. The mask always created distance. Its crack allows others to see the human behind it. Sometimes the smallest honesty changes more than years of silence. A simple "I'm struggling" can open a conversation that never existed before. Tears during a routine "I'm fine" can signal to those around. More attention, more support is needed. The mask cracks, and the world finally has a chance to connect with the truth. But the process is painful. What comes out is not just about the present, but about all the times emotions were hidden. Tears are not only for now, but for every yesterday that was silenced. Fatigue is not just for today, but for years of carrying burdens alone. Fear is not only for the future, but for every betrayal of trust in the past. The wave of emotion seems overwhelming, but in it lies cleansing. And the most important thing to remember, the crack is not the end, it is the beginning. The beginning of something new, something real. A person who allows themselves to break is in fact taking the first step toward healing. No longer is energy wasted on acting. No longer must strength be proven. They simply exist. And that simple existence without the mask may become the greatest treasure. Yes, the mask gave safety, but it also imprisoned. When it falls, there is both pain and freedom. Freedom to finally be oneself. This is terrifying, but within it lies what was missing all along: true contact, honesty, warmth. Because only without the mask can you feel seen and accepted, not for the role, but for who you truly are. Living without an emotional mask seems impossible to those used to wearing it. It was their shield, their armor, their way to survive in a world that did not always understand. It gave the illusion of control. If I say "I'm fine," no one will see my weakness. But the price was too high: loss of self, constant exhaustion, emptiness. Removing the mask does not mean exposing yourself to everyone at once. It begins with small steps. First, honesty in small things. Say not "I'm fine, but today is a little hard." Do not hide fatigue, but admit, "I'm tired." Write not a joke, but a message to someone close: "I need your support." These steps look minor, but they are the beginning of freedom. Each honest word reduces the power of the mask. The second step, to realize vulnerability, is not weakness. True courage is not in always being strong, but in allowing yourself to be real. A person who can say "I'm hurt" is stronger than one who hides behind silence. Openness carries risk, but only it allows real connection. The third, to notice where the mask is truly needed and where it is just habit. Yes, sometimes we must hold ourselves together at work in crises when action is needed. But if the mask never comes off, it becomes a cage. Find spaces where you can be yourself, in close relationships, in friendship, in therapy, even in a journal with yourself. Where there is safety, the mask is unnecessary. The fourth, to understand others can accept more than we think. We fear that showing weakness means rejection. But in truth, it is in weakness we become closer. People rarely turn away from honesty, they turn away from pretense. Openness builds bonds deeper than any mask of strength. Finally, it is about self-acceptance. The mask is born of fear, fear of being unwanted, unloved, not enough. But every person has the right to their emotions, the right to tears, to fatigue, to sadness, and the right to joy that does not need to be performed. When we allow ourselves to be who we are, the mask is no longer needed. To take off the mask is a risk. It means saying, I am not always strong, I am not always okay, and that's normal. It means letting others see scars. But in this truth lies life. Life is not a theater of endless smiles. Life is sometimes happiness, sometimes sadness, sometimes strength, sometimes fragility. And in that variety is our humanity. Most of all, without the mask, there is the chance for real love. Because love is only possible for the real person, not the image. And being loved is only possible when you are seen as you are. The mask protects, but it blocks what we need most: closeness, warmth, acceptance. Learning to remove it step by step is not just psychology. It is the path to freedom.